Yo, welcome back. I don't know exactly where this episode's going to take me because I don't really have a plan. I wasn't thinking really in depth before this. I just didn't want to be on my phone or listening to anything. And I'm on a walk. And I didn't want to be listening to anything for a chunk. I need to process my life as it comes, the goods and the bads, and what else? I have a phrase that I wrote down in my notes app the other day that I think is good to talk about because I just continuously find myself in a tough spot. Where I think, so my last video was basically me just saying, I'm burnt out. I'm continuously burning out. I can't help myself from burning out. It feels like there's nothing that I can do about it. I keep crashing out, all these things, and I'm just in this freak out zone. I'm gonna be honest, I'm still right there. And this time isn't any different, to be honest, than the last few. So I'm not like, oh, I'm finally pulling something new out of this. Like, no. I'm just, right now, I'm crashing out. Or I think I'm kind of in the upward from the crash out, burnout. To be honest, like I feel like I'm getting a little bit better by the day, whatever that means. Taking better care of myself by the day or whatever. And okay, so the phrase that I wrote down that I think really resonated with me the day that I wrote it down, and today I just want to think through it, is oh gosh, I'm forgetting. It is, you cannot grow until you've let go of the past. And I actually spelled past wrong in the note. It said paste. But you cannot grow until you've let go of the past. And it was really resonating with me at the time because I just was like really caught up in like, I am a self-destructive, destroying machine. Like, basically, I wrote that maybe like the day or the day after I recorded my last video, where I was just like crashing the fuck out. And was just like, I hate myself and I can't figure out what's happening and I can't figure out how to stop this terrible cycle that I'm in, like all of these things. And I kind of jumped to this place saying, I think I'm clearly going, this is how I got there. I'm clearly going through a growth period, right? So I'm growing and I'm changing, and it's like, I described it to my friend the other day as like I'm in like the growing pain chunk of time of the growth, like of the change. Like I feel like everything in front of me is changing. Every single way that I'm living my life is changing. And I'm really in the pains of it right now. I'm in the part where everything hurts. And I think think I even said in my last video is like, I feel like everything that I built up, I've lost. Like every single good habit and all these things, I just don't have anymore. Like it slipped away. And I think that is true. But I also think I'm just dealing with new problems now. In this growth period, in this time of like change that I'm in, basically, I do feel like I am just experiencing life completely differently all of a sudden, in good and bad ways, I feel like. And it's kind of a reality shift where all of these things that I was really invested in before, suddenly I can't do. I don't have the mental capacity to do them, or I don't have the drive, the time, the energy, the anything to be like exactly where I was before. And I think I stumbled onto this idea that you cannot grow until you've let go of the past, because I'm still like tugging at where I was a couple months ago before all of this change has happened in my life. I'm like still like dying for the feelings that I had a couple months back. These like feelings of freedom and contentness and control over my habits and like all of these things. Like I feel like I had all of my things lined up because I took a year and a half basically to get myself to a good spot. And then everything changed. And then I was basically grasping at what was no longer there, what was no longer important, what was important back then, I could not prioritize. And it was just hard, and I'm still dealing with that. And I think what's the problem is I think I'm comparing who I am now and what I'm doing now too much to what I was and not enough to what I can be. This is so fucking corny, but I genuinely believe this. Like this is very different. Everything that I'm doing is different. Why would I compare myself to what I had, what I was prioritizing, what I could do? And why can't I just focus? Why can't I strip away all of those expectations and just set my mind on an achievable like life that I can like build to and build from? Because I'm not like the same. I don't have the same capabilities that I had a few months ago, based on time, based on energy, based on mental pressure, like all these things. Like it's just simply not the same. So why would I approach it in the same way? And I think I'm starting to do that in a few ways. I'm prioritizing a few different things, and it's been really good. And I think accepting a few other things has been good, but I think I'm still holding tight to some things. And I'm not saying like everything needs to change. Like, hey, like I'm the same person at the end of the day. Like I am still Brendan, like I need to not lose track of that. But yeah, I don't know. I think what's different is now I feel like I've all of a sudden developed all these bad habits, and I'm like, well, what if I just like break them all at once? And like, for instance, like, it's pretty obvious. Like, I don't know, like, I'm staying up late. I'm on my phone too much. I'm not sleeping enough. Not prioritizing sleep. I am. I'm not getting myself up early to exercise and do things like as much as I was. I'm not working out as much. I'm not eating as clean. I'm not like doing all of these things. But why would I compare it to what I was able to do before rather than what I can do now? I'm like, you know what's achievable now? It's like, maybe it's not wake up 2.5 hours before work and get a workout in and like go from there to like an hour and a half long walk, and then like go straight to that from work, and then work to a social activity, like all these things. Like, clearly I had the time to do that. I don't have the time, the energy to do that right now. Why can't I just look at it like step one, building back up? And I think that's kind of where this like sentiment of like I need to just let go of this perfectionism that I had, because it truly was like I kind of like I got it to a good place, but who's to say I can't get it to another good place? It's just going to be like a little bit different, you know? So I don't know, I'm just thinking about that. I'm still not like, I don't have a plan, don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I do know like what I was trying to do before isn't working. Nothing seems to be working, but I don't know. I literally don't know. I don't know if I believe anything I just said for the last 12 minutes and 20 seconds too. Like I think I do. I think I believe that, but it frustrates me. And it makes me like pissed at myself that I got to this state, and like different problems require different solutions. I believe that. But like, what are these problems and where did they come from? Like, just slipped away. And there's no easy like band-aid answer. To fix it. I just am kind of just dealing with the consequences, and I need to build, and I think I need, and I think in order to build, I need to let go, because I also think, sorry, this is another thought, I always continuously like go back to this idea that like it's like every time I'm like in church, and it's just like at the end of the day none of this matters, you know? And I can try my best, and I can fail, and I can try my best, and I can succeed. And neither of them matter. I can glorify God, and that's what matters. It's just like, I think that okay, here's another thought. This is a whole different spiral that I think it could go down. Oh my gosh. By the way, I started therapy, so I think maybe this is what's got me thinking deeper again. Because like this was I just had a whole like whatever. This video started in one way. It's about to take a 180-degree turn. So since I started therapy again, this is where the thought came from. I was recalling to my therapist, who's the same one that I used to go to 2 years ago, basically. Almost exactly 2 years ago is when I stopped seeing him. I oh yeah, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I had to recall, like on our first or second session, probably I think the second one, I had to recall back. Basically, it was like, what have you gone through in the last 2 years? I basically was just saying all these good things. And one of the main parts was basically like, hey, like a month after I stopped seeing you, it was like, it was when I graduated college. And at that time, hashtag throwback, also hashtag throwback to when I started this YouTube channel, which was about a year after that, which was about a year ago, which is crazy. I was dealing with for that entire year, May to, it never really truly went away, but May to May was deeply, deeply like dealing with existential dread. And I told my therapist that, and I was like, but I think it was necessary, because I think one of the things that I was really deeply going through at the end of my years in college was this idea that I was grappling with what I just said, and nothing matters. That God is eventually going to pull us from this life, and nothing here matters, and there's eternity, and it's just so much better in heaven. And in a way, it was making me crave death, which is really dark. But I was basically just like, life is terrible, and life is unfair, and it sucks, and I hate it, and it's been unfair to me, and it's been unfair to my friends, and it's sad. And you know what is like the only glimmer of joy is that I will someday die and be with God. That was genuinely what I was going through at the time, which kind of really made me spiral, I'm gonna be honest. But that was like a basis of my existential dread, was that concept that it was like a true fear of God, a true ego death of sorts. I don't think ego death is like fully real, but I like, it really grounded me, and it really made me think about like, oh my gosh, and now I have to deal with life, and life is just a thing, but it doesn't matter, but I have to think it matters, and I have to do, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? So that was something I was really going through, and I really like told my therapist, I was like, this is like the main problem in my life. Like, I feel like this took over depression. Like, he was like, you seem less depressed than you were when I last saw you. I was like, I am, but I've dealt with unreasonable amounts of dread, like insane amounts of it, and it's different. And I think it's taken over the depression spot. But I also said, like, that dread that I had grew me into the person that I was, or am, sorry. Well, was. For now, I'm gonna say was, because it grew me into the person that I was in December. You know, the person that I was talking about in the beginning of this video that had everything kind of figured out for the first time in my life. Had everything in the line, had everything like, basically I was I described it as existential dread leads to I've got to figure it out. I've got to figure something out. And then I figured it out. It was just like, it seems simple, but when you look at like a really long-term thing like that, like a really long-term thing, meaning like a year and a half, growing from May 2024 till December 2025, it was like, you can look at it simply. It's like an equation. Existential dread leads to, shit, I need to figure this out. Shit, I need to figure this out leads to step one is this. Step one leads to step two. Oh, this is the next thing. That is what I built. And I think it all stemmed back to this existential dread, which I am now, dare I say, thankful for. Which is crazy to say, because like, I don't know, it's like messed up and twisted, but I don't know, I think I am. But I don't know, that seems weird to say out loud. I don't think I've ever said that, but truly I think dealing with the existential dread that I did for a year and a half, and I'm still continuing to, but it's different now, turned me into a person that was so much greater than I was before. Grew so much. And I think for the last couple of months, I have been so busy, so drained, so burnt out, that I've almost lost my existential dread. And I'm kind of just like in autopilot. And autopilot is when bad things start to happen, because I lose my fear. I lose my fear of God. And I lose my fear that I'm not doing enough with my life. And all of these things, or I'm not achieving enough. And all of those things led to, like, they all led to the growth and change that I went through to become who I am and was. All of that to say, I told you this was a whole different rant. It came out of nowhere. I'm glad that I turned this on, because now I'm thinking through this. I miss my existential dread, which is so crazy to say. But it's a hunger. And it hurts. And I want it so bad. Hunger hurts. Fiona Apple, you know what I mean? That song's like a kind of a meme to me. Whatever. Hunger hurts. And I want it so bad, oh it kills. Love that song though. Like, unironically love the song, but it's kind of funny to quote. But yeah, I think I miss my existential dread. That's something I'm learning. And I think I have gotten glimmers of it though. And I don't have it all of the time, because again, I'm burning out. And when I'm burnt out, it leads me to just less fear, and less fear leads to not growing, and that's worse than anything. So, don't know what to do about all of that. And if you know what to do, let me know down in the comments. I'm just kidding. But literally, I don't think I don't think all of these thoughts lead to any kind of answer. Like, just like the last video, I don't know. And like I said, I'm still crashing out. But yeah, I think if I've learned anything, is I need to fear God to a point where I existentially dread living, because that leads me to desiring, and not just desiring, but like figuring out how to live in a way that will not dread, that I don't have to deal with. I don't know, you know what I mean? That in a way that I won't dread the life that I live. But that's very niche. And then if I've learned another thing, is I need to not be too strung up in my past, because just because I liked the way I was living doesn't mean I'm going to live like that right now or forever or next year. Doesn't mean I can't. But yeah. So that's what I've thought. Okay, that's all. Bye.